Slicing from Photoshop to taking to Dreamweaver. The first thing I'm going to do is get out of my 100%, which is the normal view that I work in, so that I know exactly the way it's going to look on the website, and I'm going to see the full view of the page by double clicking on the hand tool. Next, I'm going to consider using guides, which I get by dragging off of the ruler. So by the way, that's how you show the ruler from view. Going to consider using guides, but probably not at this point, because if you use guides to divide off where you're going to put your slices for where you're going to put your buttons, for example, then you can just end up with way too many. So I'm going to drag these guides back to the ruler, which is the way that you get rid of guides, and I'm going to wait until I really need guides to help me. So what am I going to slice? Like I mentioned, buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4 there, 1, 2, 3, those circles, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom. And maybe images if I've got big images, and text as well. So I'll use the slice tool. The slice tool comes from this set, which is normally showing the crop. So click and hold, go down to the slice tool. Just don't use the other one, just use the slice tool always. And we're going to go up here and carefully do our first button slice. And as long as our snap is on, then we'll be able to pretty quickly and easily, because the selection was snapped to the height that we've already done in the first slice. Now that's not quite right, so I'm going to undo one step. That looks better. The height's easy, it's the width that's a little bit eyeballed. And so the next would be buttons down here. And I missed that by a lot if I want it to be right around the circle, so I'm going to use guides for this. I'm going to undo and drag over some guides. 2 will do, because I can start in the upper left-hand corner with my snap on. It's still on. And it'll snap right to that corner, and that should be just about right. And I'll do my 2 other big buttons. And I won't bother doing the 4 down the bottom, you get the idea. Next is naming. Now, before you go and name your slices, name your file. Should have done this right at the beginning. So if you have not named by this time, now is the time to do so. Save your file. So I'm going to go save as. If this is my first time working with a website, and this is my first file, the PSD file, I want to make myself a folder. So I'm going to go save as, where I normally save my websites, and make a folder right here for my website. So I'll call this, well, this is just for me, Slice's website. Create. And I'm going to call this index.psd. This is not my HTML file. This is my PSD. It'll maintain the layers, and I can come back and work on it later on. But it's going to be my first page, so I might as well call it what all first pages, home pages, have to be called in websites, and that is index. So index.psd Photoshop document. So now that I've saved it as index, now when I right-click on each one of these slices to name them, whatever I call it here, well, it's called index 03. I can go in and call it index dash. This will be small home button. Note the naming convention. We like to go with capitals for each word and no spaces between the words, rather dashes. Okay, and maybe I'll just do one more. So right-click, edit slice options, and just delete the number, because that's, what does that mean? Doesn't mean anything else. So dash web button. Or I guess I called it small, so to be consistent, small web button, and so on. And you absolutely have to name all the different little images that are going to be for buttons or that you're going to work with in Dreamweaver. Otherwise, you'll have no clue what image 5 and image 4 and image 3 and so on are. So that's slicing. Do be sure to look at the next couple of videos, one which will be for optimization when you're saving for web, and the other the particulars of how to save properly for web before you bring it into Dreamweaver.